here we are. This is Sparksmith's new podcast series. This is our third episode, and we are talking with Joseph Keiser. His tag on Instagram and TikTok is C2500 underscore Chevy. And it's nice to finally kind of put a face to the name and the truck and all that. I know, like I know you. I feel like I know your truck like the back of my hand, but
Yeah.
it's we always end up posting like all the all stuff of our trucks and all the things we're working on. We don't ever like talk about ourselves all that much. It seems like so. Um, I know our last one we talked with Darian Stum, and he was another one. Like I had no idea what the guy looked like, but I knew he had a really nice truck. So it was kind of cool to know people. And that's part of what I like about doing this series and kind of doing these things is, we've got people that are sponsors, but it's nice to kind of get to know you and like who you are and tell us kind of your story and where you're at and all that. So thanks. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate having you here.
Um,
So you're in Illinois.
yep.
Yep. Where at in Illinois?
Basically, Southern Illinois, Montgomery County. It's kind of about an hour south of Springfield. So, real tiny, small town that takes about 5 minutes to drive through.
Have you lived there all your life?
Yep. Yep. Lived right outside of town on my family farm for basically whole life.
Cool. All right. How old are you?
I am 19, about to turn 20 on May 17th.
Oh, cool. Well, happy upcoming birthday.
Yeah.
Man, 19. I feel like that was literally half a lifetime ago for me. I'm 40, be 44 this summer, so I'm an old man compared to most of you guys.
Yeah.
But out here doing the thing. So, you've made some pretty big changes to your truck over the past couple of months because you kind of tore it all the way down almost to the frame.
Yep. The only thing that left on there was motor and then basically the cab to the front. There was no suspension, no bed. Fuel tank was still on. Basically, what kind of started all that is having those wide wheels on. My steering was loose and whatnot, and I had replaced the wheel bearings before, so I kind of wanted to do something about that. And I figured, well, if I've got the front end apart, I might as well get it all powder coated. And then that turned into, well, I might as well take the suspension off on the back and get that powder coated. And then that turned into getting the axle done. And then fast forward, all the suspension underneath the whole truck's been completely gone through and rebuilt, fully rebuilt axle, all new bushings, ball joints, tie rod ends, sway bar end links. I mean, you name it, it's brand new on that truck. New pitman arm, new idler arm. It's basically been gone through. And whenever I was doing that, the entire time the bed was off and it was getting a new bedside on the driver's side to fix the rust. And I waited quite a while for that. So
Very cool. So a little about the truck. Is it a 98?
Yep, 1998.
Cool. And how long have you had it?
This will be, I'd say probably my fourth year.
Okay.
I got it whenever I was freshly 15, kind of, that summer. And then my dad drove it as a farm truck on the farm for a while. And then COVID happened, so I couldn't get my license. I had to wait.
Oh,
and I ended up, the Monday I was supposed to take my test at high school, they called school off and said it was done for the year. So I had to wait. And then I finally could get my license, and I did the driving test at the DMV in that truck. And then I finally convinced my dad to just let me have it.
That's awesome. So I've got a 1970 Mustang convertible that was my daily driver in high school, and it was kind of the same process. Like I drove the car so much, I just had to convince my dad to let me. I think I bought it from him for like $1.
Yeah.
just to put a number on the title transfer paperwork and stuff. No, you never forget that first car. And that's cool. It's because I've seen the pictures of it, like when you first got it, and to what it looks like now. Like it looks like a completely different truck.
It's way different from what it used to be. I mean, we drove, I mean, it was spur of the moment. It was about 40 minutes away or 45 minutes away. And I was at home with Dad. It was like, I don't know, 3:00 in the afternoon. He's like, hey, I found this truck on Facebook Marketplace. Let's go look at it. And we ended up going and looking at it that day, but it was a Friday evening. So he told the dude to keep it back Monday to get it with cash. So we ended up going and get it that Monday, and it had the stock from factory bed cap on it, and then it had the steps that go down the side, the diamond plate steps that had the 3 LEDs or 3 halogen bulbs on the orange halogen bulbs on the sides that would light up and all that. So the first thing I did was take that bed cap off and those running boards off and make it look like a normal truck and not a grandpa truck.
Not an old man's truck. Yeah. Yeah. Those are dead giveaways that it's a grandpa truck.
Yeah. Having a bed cap on it that is on an old truck's kind of a dead giveaway if it's not like an overland build or something.
Yeah. Cool. And you've gone through several iterations of this, like especially with the wheels and tires and stuff. So just if anybody listening will go out and check out his profile. Again, it's C2500_Chevy on Instagram and TikTok. It's got some really killer content, but I like looking back and seeing like kind of the different versions that you've gone through with the truck. And it's always interesting to see like kind of what you were into at the time, or like what you could afford to do, or what you had available to you to do to the truck, and going from, because you had black wheels for a while, and then you were on those, what were those, like 22s, 24, something like that you had on it back before winter?
Those black Archons I had were 22 by 12s, and then I traded another kid for 22 or 24 by 12s, and they were chrome hardcore off-road wheels.
And now it's on like a 5-spoke OEM type wheel in it.
5-spoke HD stocks on some Facebook Marketplace tires that I could find for cheap.
Nice.
Yep.
Gotta love Marketplace for some things. There's no shortage of interesting stuff out there to to show up.
Just about buy anything.
So what got you started in like modifying the truck and starting to build it to kind of be yours? Is it something you always wanted to do? Had you planned to do this, or did it just kind of happen and somebody was like, hey, I got a good idea?
I never really planned to go this far with it. As soon as I had it, and I finally got my license, my dad and my grandpa helped me get a set of wheels and tires for it, and I had a leveling kit put on the front, and then I drove it on around like that, basically stock with just wheels and tires and a level for most of high school. And then I made a new friend, my buddy Tyler Bell. He had a tan truck, and then now he's got his white LBZ, the one that's featured. I just posted TikTok today of me hauling it.
Yeah, I saw that one.
He's a little bit older than me, and he had kind of built that truck and then got his LBZ he's got now and was building it. And he kind of got me more into it. And then my other buddy, he got an OBS like mine, and we kind of started to build our trucks. And I was like, you know what, I'll start doing stuff to it too. But one of the main reasons why I couldn't really do much to mine is everybody's got these big lifts on it, and basically you can get a lift kit for most trucks from multiple different companies, but mine's a 2-wheel drive 3/4 ton. And like I've gotten told, well, Rough Country sells one, and I talked to Rough Country reps on the phone, looked at their website, looked on Facebook Marketplace. I couldn't find a lift kit for anything. I looked on so many forums of what lifts people are running on 2-wheel drives, and I looked and looked and looked, and I couldn't find anything. And I wanted it to be lifted whenever I first started building it. So it kind of bummed me out, and I got burned out on it. And then fast forward 4 months later, I found a website called spindlesource.com, and they sell, the biggest one they sell is a 4-inch spindle lift. So I obviously don't have the stuff on the front, so it's got to be a lifted spindle. And finally found it, and I had it here in like a week. I immediately ordered it, and then I got wheels from Custom Offsets, those 22 by 12 Archons, and that lift and those wheels kind of started the process. Whenever I was going to college, it was about an hour drive to Springfield and back, and I didn't want to run those bullet holes I had on those all-terrains, so I traded the kid for like older Duramax stocks, and I drove like that on streets back and forth to Springfield, and then I saw on Instagram, I think, that Boost Auto Parts was selling mirrors for my truck, and it kind of just domino affected into getting lift and different wheels, and I finally found the lift, and here we are.
Nice. Yeah, it's always fun to, like, when you've got something that's a little bit weird or a little bit, not quite so mainstream, that, trying to find the parts for it to do what you want to do is not always an easy thing. So
yeah, that's for sure.
Sometimes it takes a little patience and a little digging, and
it took months of searching for a lift kit. I was basically hopeless. I couldn't find one, and I was like, well, I guess that's the end of the road for it. I thought about selling it. It's actually on Facebook Marketplace at one point. I was done. I was getting rid of it, but then I finally found one. I was like, okay, we're back in it now.
Hell yeah, man. Very cool. And on your social media stuff, did you start those for the truck, or had you were on there anyway and were just like posting pictures of your truck just because you felt like it, or was there ever like a plan with that, or was it like the truck itself where it just kind of like came about over the course of the years?
I always had Instagram, and I would post a picture of it here and now, and then I wasn't really making it as a truck Instagram. It was my personal Instagram, but I was just kind of posting a truck here and there. But what really kind of started it for the truck was TikTok, whenever that was kind of starting to get big, and I didn't have it for the longest time. Like I said, my buddy Tyler Bell was making TikTok videos, and he asked me to get it. I told him no, I didn't want any part of that. Like, really, social media, so I stopped. I told him I didn't want to do it, and then finally I was like, you know what? He's been bugging me so much about it. I'll download it, and then I started making videos, and then started making edits of my truck with music, and then it kind of, like I said earlier, domino affected into now I've got truck TikTok, truck Instagram, and then that's all separate from my other stuff that is solely for that purpose. Because I had a couple videos take off, and it kind of feels good whenever you get a video that gets a high amount of views whenever you're not normally getting that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always nice to have one that really starts to catch some traction, and it's interesting which ones do. Like it can be like one that you don't. Usually, it's the ones, for me anyways. It's the ones that like you just kind of throw something together. You're like, nobody's gonna watch that, but then that ends up being the one that everybody's like, I love that.
I know.
Every time.
I use CapCut to make my videos and edits, and I'll edit for 2 hours, and it's the nicest video ever. Like the one I posted on TikTok today, I was like, man, this is going to go crazy. It's going to get so many views. It hits 1,000, and then that's it. But then it's the one that I just posted a video with the sound, like using that one rapper's song. I mean, it's almost at 900,000 views now.
Whoa. That's crazy.
It just blew up for no reason. I just threw the sound on it, posted it, and tagged him in it, and then I still get likes and comments on it today.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, it's this whole social media thing's a crazy experiment in the human condition. Like, just a little bit of my background is have you ever seen or met or talked to Joey Clark?
Yeah, I know of his truck and his social media pages. Yeah,
we were selling the original grill bars. Like, I was making them for my truck because I've got that 07 LBZ.
Yeah.
And I just started, like, I had them on the website, but nobody knew about us and what we were doing. And Joey just found them completely organically. Found found the bars, installed them, and started showing them on his TikTok. And at that time, he had like 30,000 followers. And all of a sudden, we were just selling these things left and right. And I'm like, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of one of those. And like, that's how the sponsorship program started. That's kind of how Sparksmith it's how we made kind of a start for ourselves. Getting into all this stuff was just with Joey Clark finding it. And it's one thing after another. And we started working with Sam Hintermeister and so on and so forth. And it's probably been a year or more since we first started working together, would you say?
Yep.
And
I was on TikTok actually, and I was just scrolling through it, watching truck videos, and then I came across this video of somebody putting universal grill bars on like a newer Colorado, and I was like, huh, I didn't even know that was a thing. And by that time, my buddy Tyler had put your guys' grill bars on his LBZ. And then I was looking at his page, and I was like, man, I wonder if I could do that to mine. And I went out and measured my grill, and I figured out that the 14-inch ones are like perfect. They will fit perfect in between the badge and the edge of the grill. And I ended up ordering your 1.0 set and putting them on. And I remember the first video I posted with those kind of gained some traction.
Yeah, no, that stuff, they work really well for social media stuff because they've got that kind of animation to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they look really killer on your truck. I remember kind of when we first started talking because your stuff started popping up on my page. And I was like, damn, that truck looks good. And like I always have kind of a soft spot for those for that generation of truck for the Chevys because I graduated high school in 98 because that's how old I am. But a buddy of mine had one of those his must have been like a 96 or 97. I can't remember. But it was basically that same body style. And I always loved that truck. It was just he painted it black. And it had that red velour interior in it.
Yeah.
And that was just, I always liked his truck. I think it was cool. So I always like when I see one, especially one that's like clean and well kept and, people have done good things with it. And like yours, like I said, I love what you've done with it, even like through the different wheels and stuff. And I remember like one of the first times we kind of started talking was there was a time there when you would post stuff and people like there was always like a heckler in the crowd that had to like come out and just say some nonsense about your truck. And it's like, just why are you wasting energy and time saying how much you don't like his truck? Just fuck off, man. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I would always joke with my buddy Tyler because he's like, man, I always see Sparksmith defending you in your comments, and we'd always joke about it. And,
well, it was like, I mean, just not to sound cliche, but say something nice or don't say anything at all. Like, don't waste your effort on that.
I did it every day.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And that's just that's kind of part of this whole social media thing is like you put stuff out there in the world and you gotta, to some degree, you gotta kind of take the good with the bad. And I think, when you get into kind of like your level of viewership, it's inevitable that you're going to get that kind of stuff. So it's good to learn how to deal with that kind of thing and kind of get some thick skin and just let it slide.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword. You get comments like, man, that's a nice truck. And then you get other comments that are like, I wish I never saw this thing ever again. I mean, you got to learn how to deal with it. And
well, I think to your credit, I think you've done a good job of handling that kind of stuff because I see the kind of replies that you post as well. Or like the guy the one you just posted where he said mine's better or something. And it kind of started going back and forth. And like I can tell that it at least on your presence online, it doesn't seem like it really gets to you. And that's a really good thing. Like people need to learn to
let it get to me. I mean, I built my truck for me. I like the way it is. I'm not posting videos on TikTok or Instagram to get views. I mean, if tomorrow social media went away, I'd be perfectly fine losing all that. I mean, that truck's for me. I post it because I think it's cool. If you don't, that's fine. Each to their own opinion. Even whenever my followers on TikTok or Instagram are commenting on people's comments that are bad things about my truck, I try and defend the people who are commenting the bad things. Like, it's fine. They've got their own opinion. I mean,
oh yeah,
everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but I guess it's whether you say it or not.
absolutely. Yes, but opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got them.
Yep. Yeah.
Shoot, there was something else. Oh, yeah, saying that you do it because you love the truck and you're doing it for yourself, which is exactly why you should. When we talked with Darian a couple of weeks ago, he said the exact same thing. Have you ever met him or talked to him?
I have not. No.
Okay. He's a good dude. He lives in Missouri, so kind of in that Midwest area, but he's going and I'm going. We're going to be at that useless meet in Lafayette, Indiana in the fall. Are you going to that?
Yep, I've already bought a ticket. It's hanging up over there. Be there.
Hell yeah, man. Cool. Well, we'll get to meet in person, shake hands, and
yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to show you your 2.0s on my grill.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, they really look good on there. I like those 2.0s a lot better. Some of the comments I would get is the color of the white LED, like the shade of it, how it's kind of blue, but now it's more white and it matches a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely helps out the look of the front end of my truck.
Oh, absolutely. And the headlights you have in there look killer too, because they have an animation as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, I kind of, after getting your grill bars and seeing that startup animation, I kind of modeled the whole front end of the truck after that. Like if Boost Auto Parts sold mirrors for my truck that had the startup animation in their mirrors, I'd get those. That way the whole front end does it. But unfortunately, they don't. I kind of modeled everything after that. And just like my lift kit, I couldn't find headlights. The old white U-bar style headlights, if you go back way in my posts, was the first set of headlights I had. That was the only one online that I could find. I mean, I looked, and that was the best available with those amber LED turn signals, and that's what I could get. But then RZ lights kind of started showing up and getting bigger and bigger, and I ordered a set of headlights that did that startup animation from them, and it kind of really pulled the whole front end of the truck together.
Definitely does. Yeah, they look good on there. And who was that? RZ Lights?
Yeah, RZ Lights.
Okay.
They sell a couple different styles that have their startup animation. They sell us a top and bottom set that match and do the same. I didn't really want that. I kind of wanted just the top set. And then I've got a stock set of like the bottom turn signals that just have switchback bulbs in them. I believe they're actually yours too.
Oh, cool. I just placed an order. I just sent the request in anyway to get, I found some side markers for your truck that have the top and bottom ones have like 3 vertical strips in them that do a sequential turn signal kind of thing. So that'll be a kind of, I'll get you a set of those and we'll see what they look like on there. If you want them.
I definitely take them. I actually do have a set of ones kind of like that from RZ Lights, but I have a problem with them fogging up. I mean, there's condensation, they're turning yellow, so I definitely do need a set. You can actually kind of see it in my more recent videos. They've turned yellow on the inside and they fog up every time. Yeah,
man, that's one thing about this whole aftermarket lighting industry. Yeah. Like it can be really tricky to find good stuff. And like I have people still asking about like the bow tie badge, and it's like I don't want to just go out and buy some garbage and like put it out into the world. Like I try to find like good quality products that are worth the money, and it can be a tricky thing. But it's something we continue to try to do so that people like you can have a good experience and a good product and all that.
Yeah. And I'd say that people like me are glad that people like you are trying so hard to get good products out there, because there's other companies that will just take your money and sell you anything they got, no matter what the quality is. As long as they get money off of it, they don't care.
Yeah, no, I try very hard to kind of stick to that. It's just the kind of a core value of mine personally.
Yeah.
So on the social media stuff, actually real quick while I'm thinking about it, I kept meaning to ask, how did you and Tyler meet?
We actually went to high school together.
Okay.
He's a little bit than me, so I wasn't really friends with him. I mean, I knew of him. He actually lives down the road from where I grew up, so I didn't even know that until we kind of became friends. And now he's the guy you mostly see if there's two trucks in my videos that I'm with, because he literally lives 5 minutes from me. It's really easy to go and get videos with him, or we basically became best friends now. I mean, I see him all the time. I put his tunes in his LBZ for him. Over this past winter, that garage that my truck was in that I was tearing it down, his was the one that was right next to it, getting the same done. So we've kind of definitely became friends after high school. We weren't really super close in high school.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, it's, the journey you take through life and the people that you meet, man, you never know the direction it's going to take you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
How much time do you think you spend like on any given week on different, like for social media? Is that something that like just consumes you a lot, or do you just kind of, it depends on the day and the...
Yeah, it kind of depends on the day and what videos I have of my truck, because you'll see some pages that they'll take a set of videos and then make a bunch of posts using the same videos, and you can scroll through like their past 8 posts and they're all the same ones. I try and not do that. I try and do every single post with a different set of videos or the same set of videos, like in a different sequence. I try and make it different. That way my page looks different every single post. But like over the winter, I try and not get my truck out in the snow. And this past winter, it's been down the whole time. So it's kind of been hard to get videos till it started to warm up and be nicer out. And I've got a set of videos, 8 or 10 videos that I'm going to have to throw together and edit that I got yesterday. It's going to start ramping up again because it's nicer weather. I got it done and I can get it out and take videos of it. I'd say the most time-consuming part is being on TikTok, trying to find trends that are happening and trying to stick with them, because normally, no matter what, if you can catch on a trend that's starting up on TikTok and post your version of that trend, that video will do pretty well. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of have gotten such a big following on TikTok, is kind of not following the trends, but doing them and making my own set of videos alongside that.
Nice. It's a good strategy to have for that.
And Instagram's definitely complete opposite. So it's kind of hard to find trends on Instagram. I kind of repeat the videos that I post on TikTok onto Instagram as a reel. And funnily enough, an Instagram reel will do usually 10 times better than a TikTok will. I don't know what Instagram's algorithm is, but a TikTok I posted 2 days ago has 10,000 views on TikTok, and the same exact video on Instagram, I think it's at 35K. It's the same exact video, just on a different platform, and for some reason, Instagram always does better.
It's a strange thing. And like, I've got Jenna who does all my social media stuff, and like it's almost a full-time job for her, just trying to keep all that stuff straight. I'm like, I can post stuff, but I'm I'm not trying to keep up with all it. It's too much to track between that and running the business and kids and all that stuff.
It can definitely get overwhelming whenever you try and make the best edit possible, and then you post it and it doesn't do very well, and then you're bummed out and you try and do it again and make different edits of it. It can definitely get pretty overwhelming and time consuming. I mean, every one of my videos I've spent at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes working on.
Yeah.
Best as possible.
Well, it's all about that work-life balance. And speaking of, what do you do? What keeps you busy when you're not doing this stuff?
I work at a seed production plant, a Pioneer seed production plant. It's about 30 minutes west of here. And then outside of that, I still work on my dad's family farm, running tractors and semis and helping out with that. And then I actually do a little bit of wiring and vehicles on the side, putting radios and sound systems in. And a big thing is rock lights and wheel lights. Everybody wants those.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you need more rock lights and wheel lights, we've got them. Actually, I don't have the wheel lights yet. They're coming. I'm going to have those 10-row things that we talked about on the live stream last week that I'm excited to get those. Those things are going to be insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you got a pretty full plate there for a 19-year-old. It's
Yeah.
what kind of stuff, what does the farm produce?
We do corn and soybeans and a little bit of wheat.
Okay. Cool. How long has that been going on? Is that a generational thing or?
Yeah, it's a generational thing. It's been going on my whole life. I've got an older brother who, before me, my dad, and then my grandpa who recently passed over Christmas.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. That's never an easy thing.
Yeah.
Were you close with your grandfather?
I was definitely. Yeah, it's going to be hard over this next year farming without him because he's another extra hand, and he was normally the guy who would always run the combine. And now that he's not there, my dad's got to run the combine, or we got to switch in and out. And it definitely is going to become a little bit difficult because he was older, so he could really only drive around and not work super hard. So he'd give rides, and now he's not there to give rides, and it's always hard to move machinery without a ride back. I mean, you can drive a tractor there, but how do you get home without taking something with you? So,
yep. Yeah, well, best of luck with that. I know, like I said, it's never an easy thing. So, but you seem resilient enough. I think you'll survive.
Yep. We've been getting through it so far. We've been planting mostly corn so far, and I think they've switched to beans. I haven't helped out in a little bit. I've been pretty busy, but with the truck and at work. So, but yeah.
Well, and you've got somebody else to lean on too. Did I see the word fiance on your page the other day?
Yep. My fiance, Harley.
Outstanding. Congratulations. Have y'all set a date yet for the wedding or just kind of feeling it out?
Yep. September 20th of next year. So September 20th, 2025.
Okay. Awesome. Well, congratulations, man. That's exciting stuff.
Thank you. That'll be our 5th year together next year. Yep.
Good for you guys.
Yep. This place I'm in now is our rent house that we have together in town, and she has her own personal horseshoeing business, and I work at Pioneer, so she's kind of mostly self-employed. And then, yep.
Cool. So she's a farrier then, and
yep.
That's pretty cool.
She put horseshoes on. She went to school in Oklahoma at their horseshoeing state school. So.
Cool. That's a good line of work. I mean, that's something that'll keep you. It's one of those, like, as long as you do what you say you're going to do, you'll stay employed and, make something for yourself. So good for her.
Yeah. If she was here, she wouldn't agree, but she's gotten a lot of business from whenever she first started. I mean, she gets calls all the time about, oh, I need 2 horses done, 5 horses done, I need a donkey done. I mean, she's in and out of here all the time. I mean, I've changed the oil on her 2017 Jeep Compass about 1 million times because she puts so many miles on it.
Well, that's good that you guys have each other to lean on with that kind of stuff, though. That's great.
Yep. She definitely gives me a lot of support with my truck.
Awesome. Yeah, I noticed she was in a couple of the rebuild videos.
Yep.
Lending a hand.
Yep. She tries to help out as much as she can.
Awesome. Did you guys meet in school or?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. We went to high school together.
Cool.
And then, yeah, we've been together. This will be our 4th year, and next year 5th.
That's exciting stuff. Well, and you mentioned college. You went to school after high school for?
I went to Lincoln Land and got a certificate in electrical distribution lineman. I'm still kind of looking for a job as of yet, but.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so my passion in high school was residential electricity wiring, and that's kind of what I found I stumbled upon that I was good at. And then they had this lineman program going on, and I went through that and got certified and got my Class A CDL. So.
Okay, nice. Yeah, there again, that's another one that, like, if you just show up and do what you say you're going to do, like, you'll you'll stay busy, you'll make money, and you'll do well for yourself. So good for you. On the truck, we'll switch back to that for a minute. What would you say is your favorite thing that you've done to the truck? Obviously, besides the grill bars, because we all know that's the best.
Yeah, that's actually was going to be my answer probably.
Okay.
The grill bars was kind of my favorite thing that really pulled the whole front end together and gave me the picture in my head of what I was going to do with it. Because in my opinion, the front end of the truck is the most important part, like the grill and the headlights, because that's what everybody sees. Like you can take video sides all day on TikTok, but driving down the road, people are going to see the front. So if you have a front that stands out from other ones, it's definitely going to be different. So I try to go a different route and do something different than other people have. And I get ridiculed all the time for having a badge light that doesn't match like the color of the LEDs to the other ones. But I kind of wanted it to be that way, though. I got a bronze badge and it kind of lights up more of a yellow light, and that not be that it's a yellow badge like it should be for a Chevy badge. So yeah, I think the grill bars or headlights, that would be my favorite part. I like wiring, I like lights. So
there you go. Cool. Well, what else? How about this? Money no object. What would be your dream truck?
My dream truck?
Would you do more stuff to the one you have now, or was there something else you've always wanted, or?
I'd probably do more stuff to the one I have now. I mean, I'd take a brand new L5P Duramax all day, but
yeah, if you gave it to me, sure.
Yeah, I'd probably do stuff to mine. I've always wanted to swap a LBZ Duramax into mine, and I've researched it a lot and talked to people who have done an actual swap into a 1998 and seeing how it's done. And I've got links kept of motor mounts and stuff. So I'll get to it eventually. It's just motors and wiring harnesses for that. It can get insanely pricey. And if I do it before I put the motor in, I'm going to have it fully went through and rebuilt and tuned and try and make power with it, because I get told all the time that I should put a 6.5 Detroit diesel in it, but I think it should have an LBZ Duramax in it for sure. After riding around the entire LBZ, I mean, it's nothing like the Vortec 350 I've got. I definitely want more power and to be able to roll coal on people, but I'm not going to say that my truck's rare or whatever you want to say, but it's definitely different from what other people have. Being a lifted 2-wheel drive 3/4 ton single cab long bed in that indigo metallic color, you don't really see a lot of them that look like that. And yeah, I try and stand out in everything that I do as much as possible.
Nice. Yeah, the truck definitely stands out, and you're right, that color especially is a really nice color. I think it's one of the things that drew me to it when I first saw it was that blue. I've got an old Chevy conversion van. It's a 92 G20 conversion van that was my grandfather's, but we've been fixing it up. I've actually been using it as my daily driver lately because the kids like to ride in it. But it's got the 350 in it, and it's a very similar blue color to what your truck is.
Yeah.
And I love it. So
yeah, blue is my favorite color, and in my opinion, I really like the color that I've got. I mean, you don't really see too many of them in that darker navy blue color. You can kind of see the brighter blue.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see brighter blue ones driving around all the time, but the darker one, I actually know of only one kid around here who has a OBS like mine in that color.
Nice. And now you went with like an orange accent on the powder coat stuff. What color was that?
Yep.
Or what's it called?
Cinnamon from God, I can't remember the powder coating company name off my head, but it's the main one that everybody uses. I don't really have a reason why I went with orange. I mean, I bought a bunch of swatches from them and kind of held it up to the truck to see what would go good with blue, and I thought about doing white or getting like a color matched blue powder coat and doing all blue underneath. But I found that illusion cinnamon orangey bronze color, and I was sold on that. It held it up to the paint and it matched really well. I thought it went well, and that's what I went along with.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, that little bit of contrast there with the orange popping out on the blue and like the black of the frame rails and all that stuff, like it really looks good. I'm I'm a little anxious to see some more content from you just so I can see more of what the truck looks like because the what I have seen looks really good. So
it definitely pops out, and I used a color matched blue powder coat as a secondary color. Like all my calipers are blue, and my cool springs on the front are blue, and my lift blocks on the back are blue, kind of to accent that. I mean, just like the color of the truck, it kind of looks black all the time unless you really, really look at it. I get told all the time in comments like, "Wait, I thought this truck was black, not blue." Different angle that actually shows that it is blue.
Yeah. So, and now you went with discs all around.
Yep.
Put disc conversion on the rear. How hard was that? Was it a bolt-on thing, or was it kind of like the lift kit where you had to search and find something that would actually work?
I actually did know of a few companies who sold disc brake kits, and it was fairly simple to put on. What I had trouble with was getting it. We went through an ice storm here, and I live close to the post office, so any mail I get sent, it goes to the P.O. box. And the kit, the way they send it, you get one side of the axle disc brake kit in one box, and then in the other box, you get the disc brake kit. So there's two boxes that come, and I got the first box, and I never got the second one. So I waited and waited and waited, and fast forward a month and a half later, I finally got the second one, and I had taken the first one to powder coat with all my other stuff. And then whenever I got the second box, I kind of was looking, and I was like, wait a minute, this isn't even the right kit. So I had to text Jim from Perfection Powder Coating in Hayworth, Illinois, and it's like, hey, do not touch that stuff. Don't sandblast it. I got to send it back. And that powder coating shop's 2 hours away that I had been driving back and forth to drop off my stuff. So I had to drive all the way up there, get that, bring it back, send all that back, and they wouldn't send the right one until they got all the stuff back. And of course, it took forever to get there. So then it finally got all there. Then I got all the right stuff back, and then had to drive 2 hours and get it powder coated, and then wait 2 weeks for it to be done, and then grab it and bring it back and put it on. And then I had ripped seals and had to find the new bearings for the axle. Bolting it up was definitely the easy part. It was getting it was the hard part.
A long road to get there to finally throw some bolts in it and have some brakes again.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I just saw you did you deleted the ABS system. What was that about?
Yep. So you talk to different people, and everybody has their different opinions. In my opinion, the ABS modules that came on these trucks are god awful. They're terrible. My brakes have always been super spongy on my truck ever since I've had it. We've bled the brakes. I had a whole new brake line going from the front to the rear axle put on. I cannot figure out how to fix it. Tried to bleed the ABS system. Nothing would come out of that control module box. And I know someone at work who has an OBS, and he tried for days to bleed the air out of that ABS module and could not get it. And I would be going down a hill and a car would slam on the brakes. I couldn't stop. It would try and engage that, and the pedal would go to the floor like the ABS is trying to kick in, and I wasn't actually stopping. You could feel the truck like dunk, 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 jolting, and we weren't actually stopping. So the truck's slow anyway, but I had to really be careful driving it around. And I talked to a kid on Instagram who had actually put in that 4-way brake proportioning valve for disc brake conversions, and he put a upgraded master cylinder on, and he actually did it to do 2 different trucks, and he said it made a insane difference of the braking power, because he had put on the disc brake conversion kit and kept the stock ABS system and the stock master cylinder, and he had problems with hitting the brakes and them just locking up or doing nothing at all in the back. He had a lot of problems with it, and he found that putting a newer master cylinder on it from a newer 3/4 ton, I think it's a 2001 master cylinder that bolts right up the brake booster on our trucks. It's a fairly simple and easy upgrade that makes it way better. And then he put that brake proportioning valve in, and I've driven it around. It's completely different. I mean, it's night and day compared to what it used to be.
Yeah, no, brakes are a place where you don't really want to mess around. Like you definitely want that to be a good solid point on the vehicle, no matter what. And that's completely understandable. And then, well, the ABS, and I saw some people were already starting to chime in again with their opinion. Like, why would you do that? Well, you do have to remember that it was 1998 and computers weren't very good, which means ABS was not very good. It's not like ABS on a modern car. And even 10 years past that, ABS on trucks was still garbage. Like a buddy of mine back when I was in the Navy, we were down in Charleston together, and it was a first gen Super Duty. And I remember we had to come to a screeching halt one time in his truck, and the ABS and the thing was like, it felt like a bus or something. Like it was terrible. I was like, you're better off without that.
Yeah.
So,
at least on my truck, it definitely did not help. It made everything a million times worse. I've actually been going to a truck show, and the full line of trucks stopped, and I've almost rear-ended people because I literally can't. I slammed on the brakes, and they just weren't doing nothing.
Yeah.
And we couldn't figure out why, and ended up being that ABS module after all.
Nice. Well, glad you found the problem and fixed it, and here's the safer driving, and you'll actually be able to use the brakes and do a stop and all that. So hopefully no rear ending. Can't have you messing up those grill bars.
Yeah. As long as my worry is messing up the front end.
Have you had any other trucks besides this one? Or I know you said that you got this one like when you were 15.
Yeah, this is the first vehicle I've ever had and the only truck I've ever owned. I ended up buying a piece of crap car to drive back and forth to work, but I've still got it, and it was my first vehicle, and yeah, I've never had a desire for another truck. I mean, I'd love it. Like I said, I'd love a brand new truck, but it's not in the budget, and I kind of like the truck I've got now. It's after the carbureted engines and after the square bodies, but it's not to the cat eye level where the computers have a lot more stuff going on with them, and you have to worry about a lot different things. Like my buddy has problems with his computer, that Tyler Bell kid, in his LBZ, and I like not having that worry. It's got some stuff in it, but it's not so crazy that it's impossible to work on and cannot figure why, and clearing codes and all that. I don't have to deal with all that.
Brother, I can relate to every bit of that. So my daily driver is in the shop right now. It's a 2014 Range Rover Sport. And I love the thing. It's been great, and it's done everything I need to do, like haul kids and dogs and do all the things. But I have to acknowledge that the thing's 10 years old now, and it's less than 90,000 miles on it, but it's enough that it's starting to have problems that like I can't fix because I don't have the $10,000 scan tool to go in and do it. So I've got to rely on my buddy that has a shop down the road. But I'm kind of at that point where, as much as I love the vehicle, I kind of want to, especially after driving this van around for a while and like fixing it up. Like I'm kind of the same nature where I want something that like I can get under the hood and fix everything with the tools that I have at my disposal. I'm actually leaning towards an XJ Cherokee because I always loved those Jeeps. When I first started the business, I was flipping salvage title stuff, and I went through several of those, and I loved every single one of them. Because it's a good solid vehicle. You can work on them. You can get the later models were actually pretty nice. So yeah, no, I feel you there, finding something and that's one thing even about like my truck is an '07 Classic, and knock on wood, I haven't really had any issues with mine. I've rebuilt the front end on it. Cold air intake turbo back exhaust, and that's all I've done to it. And it's been as solid as the day is long. And it's nice to have one. Like, one thing I like about my truck is that it's old enough to not have tire pressure monitoring systems or DPF or any of that stuff, but new enough to be like I still think those trucks just don't look like an old truck yet.
No, I definitely don't do either.
Yeah, that one's a keeper for life. It was kind of a long story how I ended up getting it, but yeah, I love that truck, and that one's like the Mustang. It's going to go in the will to the kids because I don't want to get rid of it.
I'll definitely be 80 years old with that truck sitting in the shed at my farm with a tarp over it. Somebody will get it eventually. I'm never getting rid of it.
It'll turn into somebody else's barn find. Be like, look at this thing.
Yeah, maybe.
There you go. Do you have any other? I know you just finished a huge rebuild, and did you make like a list of all the stuff that you did and kind of keep track of? Because I mean, it sounds like you got it all memorized, all in your head, I'm sure. But
I had a list on the whiteboard that's over there of everything that needed done, and I've got a wants and needs. I've got a full list of wants that I want to do, and then I've got a list of needs, like getting the suspension rebuilt and that brake proportioning valve put in. But like, for instance, on the wants, I want a forever sharp steering wheel that's wood grain with fancy chrome on the inside to flare up the interior even more than it already is. But I've been trying to knock out the needs first before I start getting the other stuff.
Yeah. So what else is on the wants list? What's up at the top there?
At the top of the list, I want a tailgate assist, one of those things that make the tailgate go down slower. These OBS trucks have a enormously heavy tailgate for some reason. I mean, it's terrible. So something to help let it down would be nice. Forever sharp steering wheel. I definitely want to upgrade my speakers in my truck. I've got all Scar audio as of right now, but I'd like to put in a amp and a sub box. So a dual amp setup, one for the subs and then one for the door speakers, and switch all my door speakers to DS18. I just finished up one of my buddy's truck. He's got a black LDZ that's insanely nice. It's one of the nicest ones I've ever seen. And I put in a amp for his door speakers and DS18s. I think there's an 8 and a 6.5 in each door of his 4 doors, and there's 2 Pioneer 12s in the back. And that truck bumps. It sounds super good. It's super clear. I definitely like to do that to my truck. LMC makes a underhood insulation that I wanted to spice up the old crappy one I've got, because I've got that nice 4-inch cowl hood, but you open it up and it's that crusty, old, nasty insulation on the underside. I'd like to get a new one of those. And one of the really big things that people have actually noticed since kind of revealing my truck is I don't have those cab lights anymore. I used to have these solar powered ones from Cab Over America.
Yeah.
And they were great till I started to not drive it as a daily driver anymore. And they charge via the solar thing on the top, and it don't sit out in the sunlight anymore. So they were always dead, and only one of them would come on because the truck just sits in the garage, so they never have time to charge. And I believe that's a good product. It's a little pricey, and after like a year or two, you kind of have to replace that whole module that charges it and lights up and all that. And I didn't really want the hassle of it anymore. So I ripped them off, and I want to get a stock set of 2020 cab lights and drill those into the cab, because that's what I wanted to stay away from, was drilling holes into the cab. I wanted to keep it stock and not have leaks, but I think now I'm willing to risk it for nicer cab lights that are wired in and come on, because it always sucks to try and do my TikTok videos or my Instagram videos and hit the headlight switch at the right time, but hold the key fob on the cab lights and get them all to turn on at the same time because they don't have a sync module for that. They just all come on individually, so they all wouldn't turn on. It would be like 2 on the left and then 1 on the right, and it would kind of look funny. So most of my videos, they were never on. I never really used them. It was always a hassle. I'd turn them on and be driving around with my buddy, and they'd call me or something and be like, hey, your middle 2 are out. You look like an idiot driving around with 2 cab lights out. I mean, it started to become a bit of a hassle more than it was cool. So
yeah,
that's a big thing on my list.
I built a set of the 2020 plus or 2020 and up GMC style cab lights, and we did white in the middle and then switchback on the 2 outer ones. So the 2 outer ones were like function as extra turn signals. I was pretty happy with that, how they came out. I forget. I'll have to go back and look because I'm really terrible at like remembering people's names and stuff. But
yeah,
I'm hoping that once he gets them installed, we'll get some pictures of it because I was pretty happy with how those turned out. It was kind of a fun project to work on.
I've seen a lot of 2020 aftermarket cab lights that have like the full jagged bar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more wanting like to buy an actual stock set that have the 3 individual LEDs and then the 2 on the edge. That way it still keeps that old school look, but in the daylight you can tell that it's 2020 style cab lights because at night they're just 2 and not the full bar. And I don't know if you've seen, but Boost Auto Parts came out with their S-Series cab lights that have the startup animation and turn signals.
I saw those.
They have like a special box that you plug in, and I've talked to them back and forth a little bit. And as of right now, they have no plans to come out with any cab lights for the OBS trucks. Unfortunately, it's just cat eye and up. So I thought about getting a set of those and trying to retrofit them, but they have a retrofit kit for 2020 trucks to retrofit 2020 cab lights onto that I was going to try and use and wire in. And honestly, I think that might be a little bit more of a headache than what I am willing to do, because it would come with that special box that does all the turn signal stuff wirelessly to them. And yeah, I don't know how all that would pan out. And even then, they said that they won't even be out till late July, August, and most of the shows are over by that time. I mean, there's a couple big ones late in the year, and that's about it. So they definitely wouldn't, if those would happen, that they definitely wouldn't be on for this season, I'd say.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, it's the way it goes sometimes, but I mean, hey, at least you got brakes that work now. So
yeah. I've definitely been looking for the right parts and finding products from smaller companies that are for these OBS trucks, because a lot of the big names in lighting, I mean, anything you can think of, they don't really support like square bodies and OBS trucks anymore. Unfortunately, it kind of sucks, but I like having the older truck, like you said, that doesn't have all that stuff on it. It sucks getting the gas mileage it does and kind of the ride quality, but I'd still take it over having like a brand new half ton or something with all that bull crap on it. I really wouldn't like it.
Yep. I hear you, man. You have merch now.
Yeah.
So how did that get started? What made you want to go down that path?
I kind of saw on Instagram of a couple different truck companies or truck pages that are having their own merch, and I thought, just like anything else, I could make stand out and put my own twist on it. So there's this company called Bonfire that you can just make a page on their website and design shirts on their website. They'll sell them, make them, ship them for you, and you just basically receive a check for it. So it's pretty simple on my end. I designed a couple designs on their website and a couple drawing software I have on my computer, and made up a couple quick things. And of course, my whole family bought a bunch of them, and they wear them all the time. But I've actually gotten quite a few people that have bought like like the one I'm wearing actually right now, the first shirt I made. I use the premium quality shirts, and I try not to do it as like a side business. I mean, if people want to support me and buy a shirt, by all means, they can buy one, but it's not really about the money. It's about if people wanted a shirt that says C2500 Chevy on it or something. I've been tossing around the idea of making a new shirt design. I haven't posted about my shirts and my merch in a little bit, so I thought about doing something.
Cool. Well,
the running joke for my truck among my friends is that it's not an OBS, it's a slow BS because my truck goes slow. So thought about trying to put that twist on it onto a shirt. I haven't seen one that says something like that. So
that could work well.
Yeah. If anybody's ever driven one of these trucks, they know it's pretty slow.
Oh yeah, it's no race car, but that's okay.
No, pulling around that LBZ on that gooseneck, it was awful. It was fun and awful at the same time. That's for sure. It was loud with my dual exhaust on it.
Nice. Well, I don't know, man. I think I've run out of ran through the list of questions anyway, and then some. Because we talked about all that stuff. So yeah, I know you said you're going to the useless meet. Do you have just off the top of your head what some of the other shows are that you're going to be doing?
So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of this week, I'll be in Franklin, basically Nashville, Tennessee for Music City. And then right after that, I'll be going to UCC Ultimate Call Out Challenge. I think it's 2 weeks after. I think that's May 31st through June 2nd. I'll be there in Indianapolis at their side raceway that's got the diesel drags and all that. I'll be there. And I've actually got a list of all the truck shows that I'll be going to this year. So Music City, UCC, I might hit a local one called Outlaw Passion May 24th. There's a fundraiser event in a neighboring town that's actually a local show that just started last year that I'll be hitting in June. I'll be hitting Ernie Boggs's Higbee Truck Show in July. I might hit Starved Rock Nationals in Ottawa, Illinois. I've gone the past 2 years. That one turns out to be pretty fun. But another thing is that'll overlap the useless truck meet, so I don't know if I'll be able to make it to both of them. I'll be definitely going to useless truck meet. I've already got a ticket for that. And then as far as the rest of the year after August, it's kind of a toss-up between Lifted Truck Nationals, Smoky Mountain Truck Fest, four-wheel Jamboree in Indiana, and it was a new one, C10 Nationals, that I've never been to. I'd really like to go to that one because there's a lot of OBS trucks there, and LG Billet USA is there every year, and I really thought about going to that one. So that's basically the big ones, but there's always pop-up shows and pop-up meets that happen randomly, so I'm sure I'll be at more than that. But
hell yeah, man. That's you got a busy schedule ahead of you on top of, having a fiance and a job and work doing the truck. And what's that?
Yeah, she tags along to everyone, so
that's awesome, man. You got to have somebody riding shotgun to run the radio and pick out the tunes. And
I sound dead in the whole cab, and like I said, I redid all the suspension, so hopefully it's a better ride to truck shows. I'll be driving 6 hours to Tennessee for that first truck show on Thursday this week. So
that's not too bad of a drive.
It's not too bad, but in my truck, it's
yeah. In that truck, you're gonna feel all 6 hours of it. But you're
gonna hear it too with the cost I had to have in high school.
You're a young man. You'll be all right. I promise you.
I thought about putting a different muffler on it just to make it a little bit quieter.
So I tell you what, my solution for that was an exhaust cutout. I put one on my truck. I freaking love that thing because when I close it, it's straight. It's got a resonator But other than that, it's a 4-inch straight pipe. And
Yep.
with the turbo and everything, like it's really not that loud. Like it's got a little bit of a rumble to it. But then when I open it, so the cutout is right there at the exit of the downpipe off the turbo. So it's like right there. And it turns the thing into like this monster. So like, and it's so much fun to like, especially if I'm at a stoplight or something and somebody's unsuspecting just kind of sitting there with their Prius with the window down, and I'm just like and all of a sudden you hear this.
Yep, that would definitely be cool on my truck. I don't know if I'll ever get around to doing that, but
Add that to your wants list. No, add that to your needs list. It's
add that to the needs list. Yeah.
But
I don't know to get that done before Music City. I got 2 days. One of the last things on that list that I still don't have done yet is I got horn blasters, train horns, like the flag that's behind me. And for some reason, I'm missing the lines, the 5/16 nylon plastic lines that go to the horns themselves. Like I've got it all wired up, everything's pumped in except for the actual horns themselves. There's nothing going. So I can pump it up and shoot air out, but I can't get them to actually do it yet. And I paid $60 in shipping to have those here tomorrow, and we'll see if I actually get it or not.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's always a big thing at a truck show to have train horns because you'll kind of hear somebody hit it, and then another person who's got train horns will hit it. It becomes this whole thing that everybody got them.
Yep. Yeah, no, there's a truck show that happens here in the fall called the Showdown in the Valley, and it's a really nice mix of lowriders and lifted trucks. But yeah, you get one set of train horns goes off, and then they all go off, and it's
just like somebody revving up their truck. One does it, and it's just everybody else has got to show off what they got.
Yep, I love it. All right, man. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for sharing your truck and taking the time to talk with us. And keep doing what you're doing. Like you said, you're doing it for you, and that's the right reason to do it. So keep up the good work, and I can't wait to see more of the truck. And looking forward to meeting you in person at Useless in August.
Yep, you're there. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
I think that's it. All right, man. Thank you.
All right. Yep. Thank you.
Take it easy.